Hello, and welcome to part two of the Friday show of Adamo Baseball, where I'm your host, Adamo. And yeah, it took a while to get that first one uploaded, so that's why we're in the coat now. So I'm probably not going to be as detailed with the National League, however, I am still going to try and break down as much as I possibly can. And I will go through the full divisions, same as I did with the American League, and that seemed like a really good stopping point for for part one. So let's continue with part two. Again, starting with the East Division, this time in the National League. In first place, the Philadelphia Phillies, 5-1. The story here is pretty straightforward. Their bullpen was amazing. They had one bad game against the Mets in that bullpen, and outside of that, their pitching staff has been amazing. Specifically their bullpen. Outside of that one game against the Mets, they gave up one run. Total. They swept the Braves to start the year, and they legit played like a really great team. Zach Wheeler, he was both great with his arm and with the bat. Like, he actually had a great day at the bat. Now, don't expect that too often, but he did have a really good game hitting. And the Phillies played like a 5-1 team. They obliterated the Braves, and they took 2 out of 3 against the Mets. So, I think I've pretty well said everything right there that I really need to. In second place, the Mets at 2-2. If you haven't been able to follow too closely, the reason why the Mets have only played 4 games is because the opening series between the Mets and the Nationals canceled/postponed because the Nats had a ye old virus outbreak. Not the whole team, but it was 4 players tested positive, 1 with symptoms, and then they had, I think, 1 staff member, and they've got 10 players currently on the IL for undisclosed reasons. I'm pretty sure that some of those are due to ye old virus, but I don't think that all of them were. So that series was postponed. One of those games will be made up in May, one of them in July, the other one in September. So they're going to be playing basically a 4-game series during those games in order to make up those lost games from the opening weekend. So that's how that's going to go. The Mets had that one really good game against the Phillies, but they dropped the series. And they won yesterday. I don't remember who they were playing. So their big story is that they signed Francisco Lindor to a 10-year, $341 million contract. Yes, $1 million more than Tatis Jr. I honestly think it was more for ego than anything else, throwing that extra $1 million on there. But hey, he has played like that throughout his career. He's not really off to a great start yet. He's actually 3 for 14 with, I think, 1 run scored. But at the same time, still early. He got off to a late start. So really it depends on how he bounces back after his first week as to whether or not he's earning that contract. He's going to earn the contract, okay? he is one of the best shortstops in baseball. The best one, you be the judge. In third place, Washington Nationals, they're 1-2. So they put 10 players on the IL. They did all the contact tracing, all the quarantining that they must, and everyone's being checked in. No one is seriously ill from the contraction. So it really is, so they've done everything they possibly can. The first series had to get canceled. However, the second series, they played against the Atlanta Braves. They won their opening day on a walk-off single from Juan Soto, which is pretty sweet. That first game, however, was delayed another day, so they played a doubleheader on Wednesday, which brings me to the point of I don't like the doubleheader rule that baseball has imposed. That's when playing a doubleheader, each game is only 7 innings. I think that's dumb. I get it, especially in a year whenever teams are going to be, lagging a bit because they're not really in baseball shape yet because of an abbreviated last year. But I don't like the doubleheader rule, and the Nats ended up losing both of those games to the Braves. But they won the first one. And I'd say they're doing this right, they're doing that right. Look, they've had 3 games. Beyond what I just told you, I really can't judge anything about them right now. We don't have a large enough sample size. I know it's kind of arbitrary to say that because it's only been a week, but at the same time, I feel it's necessary to say that. Then in fourth place, the Atlanta Braves. They're 2-4. Their 2 wins were that doubleheader against the Nats. So yeah, they're technically on a 2-game win streak. They got wrecked in their first 4 games. That fourth loss was to the Nats in a walk-off fashion. And that opening series, they got obliterated by the Phillies. It's not all doom and gloom for them, though, because Ronald Acuna Jr. is doing Ronald Acuna Jr. things, because that's kind of his thing. And I genuinely enjoy watching that man play. I really do. He's a really fun player to watch. And Charlie Morton, while he didn't exactly have the best first game, I do enjoy watching him pitch because it's more methodical. First few years of his career, he wasn't really that great, but whenever he got to Houston and Tampa Bay, he really just sparked up. And he's just entertaining to watch. And in last place in the National League East, comes as no surprise to anyone, on a 4-game losing streak, the Miami Marlins at 1-6. So there is still promise for them going forward. Look, I picked them to finish last in the NL East this year, and I don't necessarily expect that to change. However, they've got some players on that team that actually could bring that team forward. Alcantara and Sixto Sanchez, their 2 main pitchers. I think we're going to be hearing their names a lot going forward. Seriously, I really do. I think we're going to be hearing their names a lot. And Jesus Aguilar at first base actually has been playing pretty well. People tend to forget that he's a Marlin now, since no one's really talked about him since the Brewers run to the NLCS a couple of years ago. I don't think that they're going to be playing 143 winning percentage ball the rest of the way, though they still got some growing to do, if you will, but I think we're going to be hearing a lot about them going forward. On to the National League Central. So, the one offensive team in the division played like a team with offense the first week of baseball. That'd be the first place Cincinnati Reds, 5-1. So their opening day starter, Luis Castillo, he did not have a good opening day. But then again, most opening day starters this year did not pitch like opening day starters. He was one of them. He had a great bounce back game the second time around, and their offense has just gone off. Aquino, the dude that just like caught fire whenever he first came into the league, I want to say it was August 2018. Eugenio Suarez, Joey Votto. That's a name that we seem to have completely forgotten, though we shouldn't have, because he's still playing like an all-star. And he did that this past week. And yeah, they were hitting the ball. They were hitting the long ball. I don't necessarily think that they're going to be able to maintain that level, but they played like a first-place team this week. In second place, that would be the St. Louis Cardinals. They're on a 4-game win streak. They won opening day, where they're the ones that wrecked Luis Castillo opening day. And famously, Nick Castellanos flexed on, I don't remember which Cardinals pitcher it was. I think it was Jack Flaherty. And Yadier Molina did not appreciate that at all. Went and defended his pitcher because Castellanos was safe at home plate. And both benches cleared, and no punches were thrown, but it really felt like And so he's got a 2-game suspension that he's currently appealing. He's still playing in the meantime until that suspension is ruled by baseball, and if he has to serve it, he'll serve it then. If not, he'll just keep playing. But yeah, the Reds took the next 2 games with some serious offense, and St. Louis has just been playing pretty well since then. At least 5-2 record, good. Third in the division, the Chicago Cubs. So they're 4-3. Offense has been a bit peaked. However, there is a really fun story. I don't remember the reason for it, but apparently there's like a certain game of the year where if you hit a home run, you get a waffle maker. Ian Happ hit a home run in that game, and he got a waffle maker. Like, they actually gave it to him in the dugout. Apparently someone accidentally broke it, so they're going to get him another one, but he got a waffle maker. I don't understand the story. I just think it's fun that he hit a home run and won a waffle maker for his trouble. I don't know. That's just funny. That really is the highlight for the Cubs, because other than that, there's really not a whole lot to really talk about with them, because they're playing okay, not playing fantastic per se. Fourth in the division, the Milwaukee Brewers at 3-4. So, their offense has been pretty peaked. Now, they need Christian Yelich to do Christian Yelich things, but at the same time, it's not just him. But it feels like the Brewers are trying to have their entire offense lean on one guy. Their pitching has been pretty well. Through 7 games, they're averaging, only allowing 3.5 runs per game, which that is fantastic. But their offense hasn't been able to keep up. So like they need to get their bats going. And then in last place in the NL Central, to no one's surprise, the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're 1-6. Their offense has been playing exactly like what you would expect from their offense, and their pitching has been giving up as many runs as you could possibly shake a bat at. That's about all there really is to say about the Pirates. Ke'Bryan Hayes has definitely been fun to watch. He thus far has been everything the Pirates want, and pretty much the entire rest of the team is on the trade block. I think it's a bit early to start talking about trades, but about 2 to 3 months from now, we're going to start seeing that happen. Colin Moran, Adam Frazier, yeah. Richard Rodriguez. And they won opening day, but they haven't won since. The NL West is about what you would expect from the NL West. The Dodgers lost opening day, and they lost 2 days ago to the A's in the A's one win of the season. I actually watched the opening day game, or at least part of it, against the Rockies. And really, I think the Rockies just had a good game, which was always fun. But when you got 7 starting pitchers vying for 5 starting pitching roles, you got the other 2 that are in the bullpen just because they don't have any room, you're going to win some games. And Kenley Jansen hasn't been fantastic thus far, but he's been a step above where he has been the last couple of years. So it's not at all surprising that the Dodgers are playing the same way that they have been for the last several years. It's one of the few times when I look at that and go, I think the Dodgers are going to maintain this, at least for a while. It's usually around August when they start having it catch up to them. But for right now, you're looking at an actual representation of how good they really are. Second place, there's a couple of things here. San Diego Padres at 4-3. Now, on the surface, 4-3, it's like, but so Fernando Tatis Jr., he got hurt, and he's currently on the 10-day IL. He had a non-surgery shoulder injury. Now, there was a collective sigh of relief in the entire city of San Diego when it turned out that he was not going to require surgery, but he was swinging, I think he whiffed on a pitch, and he went down hurt, he stayed down for a bit. Fortunately, it's not a surgical thing, and he's going to be looking at, or whenever he comes back, he's going to be hoping for that. He's been hitting exactly as you want him to hit. His main issue before he got hurt was that he had 5 errors in 4 games, which is not what you want from your shortstop. But whenever he comes back, if he comes back at least 80% and he cleans up those errors that he was committing at short, then yeah, he's going to go back to leading that team right to where they should be. Eric Hosmer was hitting out of his mind, which I'm pleasantly surprised by, and Manny Machado is doing Manny Machado things at third base and offensively. And yeah, I think Yu Darvish was one of the pitchers who wasn't pitching all that great opening day, but he's definitely bounced back. So, yeah. I'm still really excited to see San Diego going forward this year. Third place in the division. This is where I expect them to be at this point, and this is where I expect them to be going forward. the San Francisco Giants at 3-3. As far as runs scored and runs allowed, playing 500 ball. Realistically, they're going to keep playing 500 ball. I didn't get to see any of the Giants games, and I really didn't get to see a lot of highlights from them because they just weren't on ESPN that much. So really, from what I can tell, they're playing about at the level you would expect. Go figure. Fourth in the division, the Colorado Rockies at 3-4. Oh, they just took a series. 2-1. They won opening day, meaning that they had a 4-game losing streak in there, which is exactly what you would expect from the Rockies. I don't really know. So when I was watching opening day, apparently their players are fully aware of everyone talking about them, saying, they're not that good, this and that, whatever. And they're taking it with a grain of salt. They're taking it the way they should be, saying, dude, we're better than this. And Charlie Blackmon has played like the best player in Colorado. Trevor Story is definitely building up his trade prospects because I don't know if he wants to stay in Colorado or not. We haven't heard anything, and frankly, I'm just speculating. But, hey, them being 3-4 at this point is a win on its own because no one expected them to be this good. Dead last in the American League West, I have seen very little highlights from this team, the Arizona Diamondbacks. I cannot tell you anything about the Diamondbacks right now because I have not seen them play at all. I don't know if that score is reminiscent of how good they are. If it's not, I know Madison Bumgarner did not pitch well opening day. It doesn't look like they've been able to score a lot of runs, and it looks like they've been giving up quite a few. So really, I cannot tell you one way or the other how good they really are. Personally, I'd like to end on a team that I know more about, but I didn't. That is my breakdown of the National League in part 2 of the Friday show. And if you think I'm an idiot or that I threw some magical knowledge juice at you, then please let me know down in the comments below. And if you're listening on my podcast, either let me know on Twitter, Adamo Baseball, look it up, I'll be the first one you find, or come over to my YouTube channel, comment down below. And if you really like it, go ahead and like, and if you really, really like it, subscribe. So with that being said, thank you for listening. Cheers until next time.